and stay and watch the show. Thank you. For those who just arrived, please feel free to come and have your seat because our show will be gonna start in 5 minutes. Thank you.
Hello. Um, Hello. Hi. Can you hear me? Right. Okay. Let me start. So first thing first, thank you for being here. Hi, everyone. My name is Azwan Ahmad. I'm from Mandiant, now part of Google Cloud. Right. So today I'm going to touch a bit on M-Trend's report, M-Trend 2023 special report. Feel free to stop me if you have any questions. And of course, we're going to go through this very quickly. And let's just begin, right? What is M-Trend? Okay, so this is the 14th edition of our M-Trend report, right? So I'm not too sure if you are familiar with what Mandiant is doing, but we are a cybersecurity company which has been operated for quite a while already. We are founded in 2004. We became part of FireEye in 2014, and in 2021 we basically split with them. We operate on our own, and now we are acquired by Google Cloud. So what we do the best is actually day in and day out is doing incident response investigation, right? So what we do, if your house is on fire, if you've got attacked by a ransomware, or even, let's say, for example, if you have data being leaked that you have not detected where the source of leak is coming from, you call us, right? So we have been responding to quite a lot of incidents. Okay, so when we do respond to those incidents, we learn a lot of uh, things. We gain knowledge from that. That's why we attribute who are the actor, what are the malware involved, right? What are they after? What are they coming from? And what are the details that we've seen? So those are reflected in our Intel grid, and some of those will trickle down to this MTrans 2023 reports. Okay, so these reports basically provide you the relevant cybersecurity metrics that we want to share with the rest of the world so that we know, okay, these are the things that could benefit you in your operations, right? Okay, so of course, what the metrics that we cover for this report is from investigation that we have done from January 2021, January 1, 2022 until December 31st, 2022. Okay, so what are the topics being covered in this edition is that we touch on the dwell time. I'm going to touch later what is the dwell time itself, and what are the infection vectors, malware developments, and also a bit of the invasion of Ukraine, and the rest as well. Okay, right. So this is the key investigation metrics. What we've seen over here, global median dwell time is around 16 days. What is dwell time? There'll be a slide on that later. And also who are the threat actors that actually go for financial gain, right? 48% of those threat actor groups goes for financial gain. Okay, and then we also seen new threat groups where we don't know whether it could be attributed to the existing group or new ones, right? But what for those that we track, we saw that there are 913 new threat groups for last year alone. Okay, that's a lot for 1 year. Okay, so let's talk about when, right? When are the attack is found, right? So it is the dwell time. What is the dwell time? What is the definition of dwell time? So basically, dwell time is calculated as the number of days when the first or the attacker first present in your environment, and then to the time that we detect it, right? Analogically, you look at this as if some burglar is coming to your house, how long do you take to notice that they are there in your house, right? It could take few hours, it could take few days, it could take probably months, I don't know, right? But this is what we observe, just to share with you. Globally, we've seen that in 2021, the median dwell time was 21 days. Of course, moving in 2022, it has been decreased to 16 days, which is quite good. And if you compare from the first investigation, for the first, when we came out with the report in 2011, it was like 416 days, okay? So over a year, from few years back to up to slightly more than 2 weeks. And why is that? But this is for global, not for the APAC region. So if you talk a bit, if you look at a bit down further for each region, Americas. So they've got some improvement for about 10 days, right? Compared to 17 days previously in 2021. So it was like a good full 1 week ahead compared to last year, right? And what I want to highlight over here is for the APAC region, okay? So now you've seen that the global dwell time has been decreased from 21 days to 16. But in the APAC region, we have seen an increase from 21 days to 33 days in 2022. And why there's an increase, I'll share with you later. And for that as well, we've seen at least 32% of those intrusion are related to ransomware, right? So it's a 6-point decrease, meaning to say in 2021, it was more than that, right? It was 38% of the investigation that we have done, right? Across in APAC. Okay, so I've touched on this. Let's go further details on the APAC median dwell time, right? So probably it's a bit blur over here, but you can see over on the right side of my hand or left side of your screen, it's 2016. That time we only tracked from overall, external and internal. So we've seen that there are 172 days when they were informed in terms of dwell time. But starting from 2017 until 2022, we keep track of whether it's being informed or whether it's being found out by either externally, meaning that probably the enforcement agency tell you, okay, and notify you, okay, you have been breached based on our observation, or based on your vendor that's seen, or security vendor that's seen, okay, you have been breached, but you may not notice about that, right? But we also seen that, and in APAC, there are, if you look at the trend itself, it's decreasing trend. In terms of dwell time between external and also internal, right? So in 2022 alone, probably it's not that clear over here, right? We can see that in 2022, there, we take around like 19 days to be notified internally, and if you look at externally, it is around like 58 days, right? So, of course, if you look at overall numbers over here, it is an increase. It is an increase, right? From 21 to 33 days. But internal detection actually decreased, which is quite good. And why? Because I think it's more towards the, I would say, awareness and the readiness in terms of improvement of the process, detection capabilities, and also the technologies behind it, right? So we've seen that they are decreased from 22 days to 19 days when we found that those attacked internally, right? But of course, notification from external entities increased from 60 days to 58 days. Why? Probably because there's so much improvement in internal detection. So external detection sometimes takes time for the rest to detect, okay? Because those are the remainders. Right. So when we talk about the median dwell time, right, how many days it takes for us or for a victim to be aware that they are an attacker inside the environment. So it ranges from 0 to 7 days up to 30 days. And the outlier is actually more than 2,000 days. Imagine how many years is that for 2022. We say they were hit, they call us, we detect, hey, this is back more than 2,000 days ago, right? So if you look at the statistic over here, we can see that, 48% of the APAC investigation that we have done had dwell time of less than 30 days. So from here, right? So it makes up of like 40%. Right? If you look, these are the percentage graph over here, right? And 76% of this intrusion, of these less than 7 days, basically there are around 30% something of these 40 days, these 30 days. So it makes up around 76%, which is like more than 3/4 of those detection are being detected in less than 1 week, which is very, very good. That is a good part. But if you look at the bad part, right, or probably slightly worse part, is that if you look at the low detection capabilities over here, right, the ones that they can only detect after 2,000 days or more than 1 year, right, probably more than 2 or 3 years, right, 30% of investigation remain undetected for a year or longer, right? So compared to 20% of the investigation that we have done in 2020. And you can see over here, there's a big gap or big disparity. And you want to know why, right? Of course, the attacks has become noble, right? In fact, if you look at one of the papers that are being published, I think it relates to either a dark side group, right? So they even call for paper for all the threat actors or the researchers to give them ways to remain undetected and deliver the attack, conduct the attack, right? So they act like academicians, right? So they move further. That's why we have to be, I would say, more advanced than what they are doing, right? Okay, so going to a bit another statistic, right? If you look at here, when we talk about breaches, cyber breaches, it could involve ransomware, which involve financially motivated actor. They just want to gain money. Just want to get your data encrypted. I just want to get data. You make us pay. We make you pay to us, and we go away, right? There are also nation state actor, which what they care is your data. I want to gain advantage from your data, be it because of a nation state interest or be it because of the commercial interest and the rest. Okay, so what we look at over here is that in 2021 alone, the case that involve ransomware in APAC is 38%, and it has been decreased 6% by 6% point in 2022, which is quite good, but it's just a slightly decrease. But if you look at the median time where we can detect the ransomware, 9 days in 2021 compared to 18 days, which is twice in 2022. The reason is that, okay, usually when we talk about ransomware actor, they will try to get to your crown jewel, to get your data that probably impact your production, impact your operation, so that's why they can make you pay your the ransom, right? So, but they will try to do this as soon as possible, as fast as possible. Why? Because they are like commercials, right? They just want to. They have numbers on their head as well, right? I have to achieve this kind of result because I want profit, right? And I think it's getting hard for them to move laterally and then get to those data and then encrypt. And sometimes that could indicate why there's a change of or increase of time where we detect the median time as well, right? So if you talk about like change and APAC median dwell time for non-ransomware attack, which means that probably they're just here to go into environment, to do a recon, and just, try to get your data, not a ransomware attack. There's also increase in 2022 from 38 to 60 days, which is quite long, right? You can see it over here in the graph as well. Okay. And we have talked about when, but we want to know what, right? What are they targeting, right? What they target, right? So who are they targeting as well, right? So the top industries and the adversaries mission and their mission objective, what they're looking after. So over here you can see that quarter of our investigation last year in 2021 goes to government, right? 25%, right? That is actually reflect to what we do because Mandiant as a company, as a cybersecurity company, we also are in Ukraine to support when they were hit by a cyber attack. And why is that so? Because we've seen, I would say, a move between just a cyber attack based on just commercial, based on just like interest. But there is also cyber warfare right now, right? Before the attack happened in Ukraine, the Russians has already sent all those pay wipe to the Ukraine just to cripple their government operations, right? So there is their actual physical warfare to the Ukraine itself. So Mandiant was there. So that's why quarter of investigation went to government. But the rest of the industries that we observe that has always been the case is business and professional at the second spot in 14%, and financial, FSI, and high tech, and also healthcare, right? So those are the top 5 that we responded. And these are the traditionally, traditional industries that the threat actors usually go after. Why? Because it's beneficial for them. They benefit from that a lot. Because these are the group or the industries that usually pay the ransom or have the data that they needed. Okay. So when we talk about what's their objective, so last year, in 2021, it was financial gain that was the top of the mission objective for those threat actors, right? It was at like 30%. Now, only 26% of investigation, 26% of the investigation involve financial gain objective, right? And the top spot is being taken over by data theft itself, which is 40% of those investigation that we've done involve data theft motive, right? And 8% of these 40% involve extortion because they have your data. If you don't pay me, I'll release your data to the worldwide, okay? And that is their mission objective. And of course, when we know what and who, we want to know how they do it, right? So what are the infection vectors? Who are the threat groups, attackers, and what are the threat group and attackers technique that involve? Okay, so most prevalent vector by region, you can see over here, right? So of course, the top one is a bit blur over here, but the top one, about 32% are globally exploit vector. And if you can see, by region itself, in US especially, they are around in Americas especially, they are 38% of exploit based on the vector itself. And for APEC, it's not really exploit, but prior compromise. And if you look at the EMEA, it's based on phishing. So if you look at over here, right, the group itself, you can see that how the threat actors work is that they look on based on previous successfully attack that they always done, right? So for example, in US, it's always been exploit, and EMEA is always been phishing, and APEC, it is prior compromise. What prior compromise means that they have been attacked or the victims have been attacked before, so they may have not done the correct remediation. So that is why it's easily for them just to ride on the initial breach that they have done before, or probably based on the previous access that they have published somewhere, someone else pick up and then use those for the next attack, right? So if you can see over here, adversaries targeting organization in APEC use access from a prior compromise to perform their intrusions more than other vectors by more than 10% point, right? Which is quite high, okay? Right, so now we know that, okay, they are going through those certain vector, but is there only one threat actor group in my environment when I got hit, for example, right? So the data point over that we want to share is that most of the time, right, we've seen more than one actor, right? So if you look at of the graph over here, right, there are multiple threat actor groups identified per environment when we do an investigation, right? In 2019, it was only like 15% of our investigation that has more than one threat actor. Imagine that you're calling us for investigation, we went to your environment, then we've seen, okay, probably you are more concerned toward this kind of attack, this kind of ransomware, but it happened to be that there are multiple threat actor groups and multiple ransomware as well that you may not realize, okay? And we've seen a trend that is going up a bit in 2020 and go down a bit in 2021, but in the end, 2022, it's around like 27%, which is, I would say, almost one third of those investigations. I would say this is quite severe, but if you look at those trends between 2019 to 2022, it is still an increase of the trend, increment of the graph itself, okay? Right, so who are they, right? What are threat groups that involve, and then what are the malware families that we observe, right? So malware family is a program or set of associated programs with sufficient code overlap, right, among the members that many considers them to be same thing, right? A family, right? So almost the same code or same mission objective and the rest. Okay, so these are the threat actor group that we track. There are more than 3,500 threat actor groups, and of course, those are the origin of those threat actor group that we detect. Of course, it's not clear over here in the screen, but I just read out some of them. Right, the unique groups or UNC group from these geolocations. Mostly are from Russia, China, Iran, North Korea, Nigeria, United States, even India, Pakistan, United Kingdom, Brazil, and Belarus. Right, there are 77 active UNC group that we observe newly. Right, and in terms of APT alone, we have around like 41 APT groups, but there are actually another 2 APT groups that we graduated since last year until this year. Okay, and what I want to highlight over here is that if you see at this sort of chart, right, there are around like 373 observed threat groups or newly observed threat group that we've seen, right, which is quite a lot. Okay, so those were the threat actor groups that we track. And what are the malware that we always seen, right? So we break that down into regions, observation by regions. Why? Because we want to make it contextual, right? Okay, so let's touch on the APAC alone, right? So topmost that we observe is still Beacon. And second is Sodinikibi, which is the ransomware itself. And the last one is Dragon Juice. So Dragon Juice is basically a sophisticated tool which used to do a recon, right? But we've seen that increase in this as well. Okay, and who are the threat actor group that we just graduated? Okay, so basically when we do an observation, when we have data set, for example, let's say for example APT1 that we observed previously, it takes us years for us to have confident to say that okay, these are the threat actor group based on the data set that we have, right? So I think for APT 42, it takes us around like probably 6 years to graduate them. So what it means is that we can confidently say that, hey, these are the APT group based on the name that we put, APT 42, because we've seen that they are using the same TTPs, we've seen the same infrastructure that they use, so that we can attribute it to them, right? So how Mandiant track attractors that whenever we don't know or we're not sure who are the attractors, we give them name like UNC, uncategorized, right? So for APT 42, we have graduated UNC 788 to APT 42. Of course, there are several other UNC group that we merge with them, and that we observe they are active since 2015. So that made them around like active for 6 years. Only then we can give them names APT 42. So they are Iran Nexus Strike Group that conducts espionage, mostly I would say for the nation state benefit, right, or motive, that use sophisticated phishing and social engineering. Okay, and so what are they after usually, or what a threat? Or APT 42 actually possess a threat to foreign policies, officials, commentators and journalists working on Iran-related projects, right? So we've seen that if there are negative media coverage on Iran or anything that relate to them, they will go after those commentators or even journalists, right? And of course, if they are looking for their nuclear program and such, they try to find out those information on Intel as well, okay, for their gain, right? So the last APT track group that we graduated is APT 43, right? So that was APT 42 was graduated last year. This year we graduated APT 43. So this is associated with this group is associated with North Korean Recon General Bureau, and has been active since at least 2008. So that make them around like 3 or 4 years. Only then we can graduate them. Also, they are known as Kimsuki and Thallium, right? So their primary focus is on cyber espionage, the same as APT 42, because APT stands for Advanced Persistent Threat, usually associated with nation state. And they conduct cybercrime to fund their operation, and that's where, in some cases, we've seen that they also deliver those ransomware attacks as well, which usually is unusual for APT group, right? But that's cater more towards financial motivated group. And last but not least, their tasking highlight their importance, such as stealing nuclear policy information and COVID-19 research. Okay, because they are so disconnected throughout the world, right? So they need to gain something for their programs or their own programs. So this is what they are doing for their own good, right? So this is my last slide. But what I wanted to share with you is that this is just a summary that I was sharing, right? Okay. So of course there are a lot more that you can gain from that. You can download the whole and full reports, which much more details through this QR code. Feel free to download it. Leave it for a while over here. And if you don't want to read the whole hundreds of pages for this report, there are also a executive summary that you can also download as well. Feel free to scan this QR code. And if still you don't want to read, you just want to listen, look at the videos, this is the AmPrem webinar series that you can tune to. Okay? Right. Okay. So I think this is my last slide. And of course, you can always browse through mandiant.com/amtrends to get all these details from our report that I've just shared. With that, I thank you. But before I go, I just want to check if you have any questions or if you want to share your feedback or experience, feel free to do so.
Yes, any question or you want to share anything? Yes, I'm moving around.
Hello. Your statistic data,
Uh-huh.
the data is gathered from which sources?
Okay, good question. So this is based
Thank
on
you.
incident response that we have done, right? Based on Mandiant frontline investigation. So what it means is that if this investigation only involve Mandiant, meaning say, let's say a victim call us, we are in investigation, that become part of statistic. But let's say, for example, if there are other victims, they call other vendor, that won't be in part of our statistic. So this is based purely on our investigation, so that what we've seen so far with what we do, right? So it's accurate for what we do. Yes, different vendor may have different observation, especially for those industries that we've seen, right? We've seen previous slide that we have 20. I mean, we cover around like 25% of those, yeah, of those industries that are being targeted, attributed to the government because we involved in so much government in response. Not only Ukraine, but of course Ukraine is part of it, as of the as well. Hello, right? But of course, the rest, if you look at like our previous report, you can also download it. You can also download MTrend 2022, which we will see that still business and professional, even financial and high tech, become the top three industries that are being targeted the year before. Okay.
In your report, is there a report by country? For example, Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore.
It is. I mean, the report will mostly cover by region. So that's why we've seen like there are 3 regions that we break down into. It is APAC, EMEA, and also Americas. Not really a country, but of course, there are a few parts that we touch in detail. What happened in Ukraine, for example, what happened in North Korea, what happened in North Korea attack, for example, right? Anybody else have questions?
Can I have a question? Just
Yeah.
to ask.
Okay.
I can see from the chart, the last one industry targeted is from the energy. Can you elaborate further on that?
Okay. Right. This is a bit interesting because energy usually involve OT, right? And OT usually have an air gap. I don't have a concrete answer why we have less. But of course, what usually we highlight over here is that even energy has not been spared from the cyber attack, right? Probably in terms of numbers, they're small, but they're still being prone to attack. And when that attack happen, it will involve a lot of, greater impact. Let's say, for example, Mandiant has been involved in one of the pipeline attack that we investigated, right? if you heard about like Colonial Pipeline before, right? So Colonial Pipeline is a pipeline whereas they transported crude oil from across America continent, right? So when they were hit by a ransomware, right, they are afraid that that could spill over to their OT environment. So they called Mandiant. Mandiant went in investigation, and this pipeline has never been shut down for more than 15 years. Right? In 50 years' time, it has never been shut down because it's lifeline or bloodline of those energy sector in the eastern region of United States of America. Right? So when that happened, they had to stop it because they're just afraid that something may blow in their environment, their OT environment, right? And they asked us to investigate. Of course, we employ certain remediation that we ask them, okay, this has to be, look into, and what are the things that you have to do next, based on best practice, based on our observations. And what happened that time is that it has been shut down for a while, and even the United States presence that time need to call for an exclusion for an act. They need to allow foreign ship to supply oil in their eastern coast region. That has never been happened before for the past 30 years. But when cyber attack happened, the impact is that you could have an energy crisis, which warrant all the other, I would say, act to compensate for that, right?
Okay, thank you very much for the answer. Any questions so far? No question. All good? All right, thank you very much, Mr. Azwan, for the wonderful presentation. This is the
Thank you.
coffee sponsored by Light KL for you.
Thank
Enjoy
you.
your coffee. Thank you once again for your time. All right, just to inform you, tomorrow will be our last day, the cyber podium session. Another 4 presentation will be coming in, so the presentation will be start around 11 o'clock. You can come and join us. All right, thank you very much for your time. Had a great day. Thank you.